Hello and welcome to Bird's Nest Designs. My name is Denise Cox. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Canada, and today I'm here to share with you this super cute card using the Waves of Inspiration stamp set and the coordinating waves dies. This card is one of the cards featured in my In Color Club, which for this month is the Tahitian Tide. Isn't that beautiful? I love that bright blue new color. So let's get right at it. We're going to start, if you're in the In Color Club, then you're going to get the prepared kit, just as I have here, in with your color products. If not, then let's go along, and I've got my trusty ruler here so I can give you the dimensions, and you can create this card along with me. All right, so we're starting today with a Crumb Cake card base, and this measures 8.5 by 5.5 inches, scored in half at 4 1/4. So we'll just go ahead and fold that with a bump to the inside. And then we're going to burnish that with the bone folder here. I've got some red glimmer paper stuck to my bone folder, so we'll take that off. So there's our card base. The next thing that we want to do is we've got a piece of Tahitian Tide, 4 by 5 1/4. And in fact, we need two the same. So we've got two pieces. And what we're going to do is one of them is going to go to the inside of the card just to add a little bit of consistency between the front. And we're going to carry that pretty blue on into the inside. So let's go ahead and attach the inside one to the inside of the card. So this measures 4 by 5 1/4. And again, this is the new pretty Tahitian Tide. We'll go ahead and attach that. So I'm just centering it on the Crumb Cake inside. And then I've got another piece of basic white, which measures 3 3/4 by 5. And if you miss these measurements as I'm going, the description of the video when I upload it to YouTube here will have all of the measurements in the description, along with a complete list of the supplies with the links to purchase them from my online store. So you can shop with me from anywhere in Canada, and I would love to have you as a customer. So if you don't already have a demonstrator and you're looking for one, please head on over to createwithbirdsnest.ca and check out my site. If you have any questions, let me know. So here we go. We've got the base with the inside. So now let's do some stamping. We're going to take I'm going to move the stamp set out of the way. We're going to use our second piece of 4 by 5 1/4 Tahitian Tide, and we're going to use Pacific Point, Basic Gray, and a wee bit of Crumb Cake. So these are the three colors we're going to use for ink pads. We'll start with the Pacific Point, and we're going to use this big, beautiful wave stamp. Isn't that just gorgeous? Look at all of that amazing detail. So because the stamp is so large, I prefer to ink it up this way, just to make sure that we get nice coverage of the whole stamped image. Okay. Just making sure there's ink everywhere. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to stamp it across the card stock here. It's going to overlap, and that's totally okay. I'm trying to get it straight along the bottom here. So it's going to give that a little extra pressure. Sorry if it's shaking the camera here. So there we have our beautiful wave. Isn't that just a gorgeous, absolutely stunning stamp? I love it. So we've got that stamped. Then what we're going to do is we're going to layer, actually we're going to take just a scrap piece here. If you're in my club, you've got two pieces exact same. One is a stamping scrap and one is a layer. So it doesn't matter which one you use, but we're going to do some stamping. So what we're going to do is stamp this bird on top of the piers here, and we're going to use Basic Gray, and just watch how this image stamps. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I love these distinctive stamps and how detailed the images become. Look at all of that awesome shading in those piers. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, so now using the waves dies, so that's these guys right here, we're going to die cut out this image, and it matches perfectly. It's really easy to line up, and you just run that through. Now with the magic of camera and being a little prepared ahead of time, I've got one here already cut out. So we've got our bird And we've got our other white piece here that I mentioned. Let me just go ahead and give you that dimension here. So this one measures 1.5 by 3. And then we have a piece of Pacific Point that measures 1 3/4 by 3 1/4. So we'll go ahead and layer those two pieces together. I've got a little smudge of blue, so I'm going to use the other side. So we're just attaching this white layer to our Pacific Point. All right. So once we have that completed, I want to go back to this bird and I want to give it a little bit more color, a little bit more pop, let's call it. So in order to do that, I'm going to take my Crumb Cake ink pad right here and a little sponge dauber that I use for my Crumb Cake ink. And what we're going to do is just going to take a little bit of ink onto the dauber. I like to do that so the majority of the ink comes off. And then I'm just going to color these piers. Okay, and what I like about this is it's not a solid image because wood wouldn't all be exactly the same, right? This is going to be weathered and light and dark in different spaces because it's been out in the sun. So there we can see what's happened there. Now, I don't really love how that cut off, but that's okay. Once it's on the card, you won't see it. My die must have shifted just a wee bit. Okay, now I'm going to just take a pumpkin pie Stampin' Write marker and just color in his beak here. You know, you could use a Stampin' Blend as well, but because it's such a small image, this was just really easy. There we go. All right. So we're going to then take our piece here and we're going to layer it on top of our wave using some Stampin' Dimensionals. So I'm just going to put 3 down the back. And we're going to layer that. Now what I want to do is pay attention that it is going to be straight right here so that this gap is consistent. Okay, and then I'm going to take some more Stampin' Dimensionals. You all know how much I like those. My favorite adhesive of all time. And we're going to take a couple minis here as well. Put a mini here. See if I can fit one right up here in his head without it. Perfect. Love it. Okay, so there we go. Now, we'll just peel off these backings. So this card, as I mentioned earlier, is one of 3 that we'll be creating using the Waves of Inspiration and the Tahitian Tide in our In Color Club for July of 2022. All 3 videos will be uploaded to my YouTube channel, so if you like what you're seeing, go ahead and check the other 2 out as well. Leave me a comment, say hello, let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to hear from you and read your comments. So there we've got our bird in its little frame here. Okay, then we're going to take our clouds. Now these clouds are also cut from these lovely Waves dies. So here's the clouds here. So I've gone ahead and I've cut 2 of them out, 1 of each. And we're going to use a wee bit of multi-purpose glue. Like that. And we're going to tuck this one here. Just kind of under that corner of the blue frame. And this one here, you guessed it, is going to have a few dimensionals on the back. Okay, so I've just got a few of those little minis. We're going to go ahead and pop that one on right here. So we've got a few really cute little clouds layered into our card. And then what I want to do is take this stamp set here, or the stamp, not stamp set. This is also from the Waves of Inspiration. A little seagull flying. We're going to then take our Pacific Point once again. We're just going to stamp a few of these guys. You can stamp them wherever you want. My clouds are up a little higher on this one, so I'm just going to stamp 2 of the birds below. All right. So one last stamp we're going to do is the greeting, of course, and we've got this beautiful little label tag, whatever you want to call it, that also is from these fun wave dies here. So this is this guy right here, and it's got that nice stitching line to show on it as well. And we're going to make this a birthday card. So happy birthday, also from Waves of Inspiration. And we're just going to go ahead and center that and stamp. Voila! Love it. Okay, now before I get blue ink anywhere else, we're going to cover that up, close it up, get it out of the way. Okay, so now I want to put my sentiment on, but I also want to use some of this awesome Tahitian Tide Baker's twine. So what we're going to do is I'm going to loop it through like this. I think I'm going to. Okay. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do it a different way. I'm going to cut a piece like this. What do I do with my scissors? Okay, so I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to save a bit of twine. So this piece now measures, let me just measure it here along the bottom of my grid paper. So this is a 12-inch piece of Baker's twine. I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half because I want this to be doubled across my card. I'm going to tuck one in through this side, run it underneath my label, and pull it out the other side. Okay, and then I'm going to want that to go across like so and wrap around to the back of the card. Now I could have wrapped that twine all the way around, but I would have wasted, as you can see, a whole nother probably 8 inches of twine. And I don't want to do that because I really like this twine and I want to have lots of it to use again on projects coming up. So I'm going to just do this way. So I'm going to use some tear tape. I'm going to put this where I want it. So I want it up a little bit higher, right about there. And I'm going to just attach one side. So this is the side by the bird. Okay, I'm just going to attach that one. So this is how I'm going to want this to go across my card. Then I'm going to take my label here. Oops. And I'm going to put a Stampin' Dimensional on this end. And the reason I'm not putting it on that end is because this is already bumped up. So this is going to keep it nice and level and we're not going to have any saggy bits. So there we go. Actually, you know what? It could almost use a double bump because it's on top of the bird, which is dimensioned on top of dimension. So, as I like to call it, a double bump, we're going to turn this over and put another one on there. Okay, and then we'll just make sure that looks nice and straight. There. And now, of course, we're going to attach the back end, the other end of the twine, to the back of the card. So as you can see, I saved having to wrap this twine around just by that little trick of just doubling it up and putting it through like that. Okay, and of course you can fiddle with it a bit on the front. Okay, then let's take another piece of twine and we'll just cut that in half. And I'm going to wrap this piece is probably a little bit longer than what I needed, but we're just going to tie it through here. Ooh. Normally when I tie a bow, I don't do this first knot, but because I want it to stay in place, I'm going to this time. I'm not using a glue dot to put it down, I'm just tying it in place, so I'm going to just tie my bow just like I would tie my shoe. And there we go. There's a cute little bow. We can pull the ends, make it cute. There we go. All right, now let's go ahead and finish our card by attaching this to the front. For that, I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue. And I'm going to peel the back of my tear tape because why not use that extra adhesion. We'll get that stuck down really well. Oh, I love it. I love how bright and how beautiful those two blues look together. All right, so the final thing to do is we're going to take a couple of rhinestones here, and my rhinestone pack is getting a little empty. So I'm going to use my Take a Pick tool, and I'm just going to take a couple of these little rhinestones and pop them over here in the corners. And then, because I always like to do my embellishments typically in threes, I'm going to put another one up there by the happy birthday. All right, so there we have it. There's the first Waves of Inspiration. Like I mentioned before, there's going to be 3 cards in total. Let me just show them to you real quick here. So you're going to want to pop on over to my homepage of my channel, and we're going to have video tutorials for these 2 cards as well. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here. As I mentioned before, if you liked today's video, please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, share the video, and show me the love. All right, everybody, thanks so much. Cheers.